Alright, we're reading some more Yagakimi. I was just playing a bunch of Mario Maker before this. I feel like my adrenaline is really pumped up from, difficult Mario Maker stages. So it's gonna take me a second to adjust. It's like slamming on the brakes of the whole kind of thought process and emotional whatever. Oh, okay. So, new chapter. If it's now, because it's now, this one is called direction. We see Toka pointing up. I suppose that's the direction. Night has passed into a new day. We're continuing our school trip arc. Sayaka had confessed at long last. At first she got kind of stuffed. Toka trying to preemptively shut it down. But she persisted. She pushed through. She explained what she truly thought of her. It was a pretty beautiful moment, I gotta say. I mean, even though I think this route is kind of doomed, this train has no tracks, as I've said, or perhaps more accurately, the ship is heading for the waterfall. It was a pretty beautiful moment, and you really gotta kind of admire her courage and the courage of all these sorts of doomed characters. So they're on some sort of suspended railway. See a boat going downstream, going through such a narrow spot. Ooh, this is so charming. It's a good school trip arc so far. Lots of scenery shots, lots of kind of typical Kyoto activities and famous Kyoto landmarks. And so I'll look over there. Sure. So it's just kind of one brief little interaction to show that they're kind of maintaining a facade of normalcy. Sayaka especially. Toko's pretty deep in her feelings. Here we see them alone. Finally. Love you, I'll be your girlfriend. It's not that I didn't notice how strong Sayaka's affection was. It's only because she never expressed her feelings that I could avoid thinking about it. Okay. So that kind of answers a question, And I think this is very reasonable, that Toka was totally aware, but just kind of refusing to consciously acknowledge the way that Sayaka felt for her. And I think that makes a lot of sense because I'm sure that Toka has been in many situations like that. This was like a kind of something they talked about early on, that she has all of these suitors, people asking her out all the time, even a girl the one time, that kind of motivates a lot of this kind of situation with Sayaka and stuff, because she's like, I don't care if it's a girl. And Sayaka's like, yes. At any rate, it seems natural that she's kind of gone through this before, where she just really wants to ignore the fact that the other person obviously has a crush on her, hope that nothing happens because of it, that she doesn't have to turn them down, hope that things don't get too complicated, because of course the option of reciprocating that love she just doesn't think is at all available to her. So yeah, this is pretty real. This feels like I just love kind of stories in which this sort of specific situation, when you really think about it, reveals so much of this kind of history of the character. Like, yeah, it's heavy, isn't it? But she thinks of all these moments. I remember the fireworks. That scene is so special to me because she goes and talks to Sayaka first about the guy who knew her sister, right? Like that it shows that Sayaka is actually still so important to her, even though she has you. And Sayaka isn't going to stay put forever. And thinking too, like, wow, I got confessed to twice in like a week. It's crazy. Surely everyone changes eventually. Sayaka, you, myself, yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is so good. If that's the case, how does one go on loving someone who changes? So this is a big hang-up first. And when you first confessed, this was like kind of what was going through her head, was this thought process of, if someone says, I love you, that means I love you as you are now. Therefore, it's kind of saying, don't change. What if you want to change? What if you feel like you need to change? What if you can't actually keep up the you that other people saw and fell in love with? I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, I think most people are like, well, they'll continue loving me along with that, and all of the changes will make me love them even more. Okay, that pronoun confusion there. So that's like fine. It's like very romantic, and I'm sure that's like actually what does happen with loving couples. But it's like, then it's like, oh, then you don't really truly love me the absolute most that you can as I am right now. Like you could make that kind of petty, hyper literal type of argument. You can love me more if I change, or love me differently. So your love for me right now isn't complete and perfect. Like, of course, it's not complete and perfect. But then you're kind of taking something away from this hyper romanticized, idealized version of love. You know what I'm saying? So you can kind of understand this. I love everything about you. Yeah, what does that mean? Right? Because that really, it's forcing you to confront this issue. Like, if you love everything about me, then how can I possibly change anything? And it's this kind of hyperbolic language of love that you always say everything. You always say perfect. You always say forever. Because it sounds so unromantic if you say, I love most of the stuff about you. It's easily over half. Or, I want to spend some time with you. But, just a few years. But yeah, okay, all right. So we're back to some nice Kyoto stuff. Can rent the boats. Oh, the boat they saw earlier. Nice. Want to ride one? So why not? Okay, a little boating adventure. I love the dynamic of this whole group, though, by the way. It's subtle characterization, but you can tell Nakatani Mio really has love for these side characters. But, this girl here with the short hair, I don't remember her name, is like super Genki, like really excitable. She's wearing like sneakers. The other girl kind of seems like cool, like not super engaged with absolutely everything like Sayaka and Toko are, but, kind of like a nice counterbalance to the excitedness of the other girl. They just seem so great. So three people of boats will split into twos. Uh-oh. So this is a different boat than they saw before. Yeah, it's like a rowboat. I see. This is quite romantic. It also has overtones to me of being taken out in the middle of the lake and being beaten to death with a bat, which is from some movie. I don't remember what movie that's from, but it's a scene in a movie. It's kind of a famous scene. Anyways. So they're going to talk about it? Will Sayaka want to force the conversation? No, it's Toko. She steps up. It's definitely her. Since when have you been in love with me? Okay. So... Okay, so I don't know. This is another major tangent. But I've always thought it really interesting. Like, you confess, okay? And then, because, or rather, before you confess, you're imagining the confession. You're fantasizing about it. And at least me, this is what I'm curious about, is how common of an experience this is. At least for me, I really want to, like, think of, like, any question they could ask me about it, any clarification they would want me to make. Even though, in a really heated emotional moment like this, probably it's not going to be the kind of calm and rational conversation I'm imagining in my head. But it's like, so do you think Sayaka thought about this question before? Like, do you think she thought about how she should answer before? That's what I'm wondering. And I'm curious about other people's experiences too. Since I first saw you at the entrance ceremony. Oh, see, like, this is really gonna throw her. Yeah, wouldn't you have only known my face then? You know part two, Yeah, This is weird, right? Like, when you say something like this, if you take it again at face value, if you kind of look through the cliches of love, that's kind of creepy. Well, you see somebody and you're like, oh my god, it's love at first sight. I'm gonna go well out of my way to get to know them. And I mean, of course, it's reasonable. Like, you get to know them and you don't like them so much, the crush is gone. But why was it there in the first place? Since you're the new student representative, I wanted you to go top grades. See, yeah, okay. Now it's making more sense. And Toka is still a little creeped out, but I think I can get that. The fact that she has top grades, like, really, you can't underestimate something like that. Because Sayaka has also spent so much of her life striving for really good academic excellence, right? Like, she's put in that same amount of work. So seeing Toko, who's like even stronger in that regard, already says so much about her personality, already puts her in a place of so much like respect and stuff to Sayaka specifically, because they have that shared experience. So that's cool. I think this is actually really realistic. Like, normally I think the falling in love sort of cliche, or the falling in love at first sight cliche, is like pretty lazy in terms of writing and characterization, and that when it leads to like a successful relationship, I'm just like, well, whatever. But I think here Sayaka has plenty of reasons to really be fascinated with Toko, to really feel like, oh my gosh, like this girl could be so special to me. Is the impression you had of me then different from the me you've come to know? Okay, so this, of course, she's referring specifically to her kind of weak side, that she thought maybe she had actually kept hidden from Sayaka, but has learned that Sayaka at some point realized she had. Her inner anxieties and her complexes about living up to her sister and all the things she's kind of worried of and scared of. In some ways, yes. How can you still love me despite that? Oh, man. This is really lovely. And it's kind of, we talk all about the opportunities of manga, but here I think maybe it's a limitation. So it's autumn, right? I'm pretty sure it's autumn based on the way they're dressed and like kind of what I remember of the time that the series is taking place in. So these leaves are changing. These leaves are like turning red and stuff, right? On the Japanese maples. So Sayaka's like, change. She looks at it and she's thinking about change. That's lovely. And you just have to kind of stitch that together because it's black and white, right? If it was color, it would be a lot more obvious. So is this a limitation of manga, or I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was worth noting though. Parts of you that haven't changed, such as your face, your voice, your intellect. Toko's so needy. If my face had a bad burn and completely changed, or if my grades fell. I don't know. I think this must be kind of torturous for Sayaka, because she's like kind of grilling her on all of this, and Sayaka, of course, knows like I'm just gonna keep asserting my love, and hopefully I can make this make sense to her. But is she thinking like, if I can make this make sense to her, we'll go out, right? Like, are these all of her hangups that we're just working through right now? And then at the end of this conversation, she'll be like, that makes sense to me. All right, we're BF GF, where BF means Burl friend. We're GF GF. Okay. Yeah, that would be unfortunate, but nevertheless, I'm sure I would still love you. So it's grades as well. It's not like you have to be the best. I'm disappointed if you had no intention of picking them. Oh, this is so great. This is so balanced. Whether I could stay in love with you after that, I don't know. I can't imagine you doing nothing about it, though. Yeah. That's so honest. That's so balanced and real. Love. Doesn't mean that I'll dislike you if you're no longer the same. But it doesn't mean that I'll be okay with whoever you become either. Oh, that's so nice. Okay, so it makes it a little more clear about the leaves and stuff, because here's one that's like shaded and it's falling, but it's fun. It's nice. It's really nice. This is a really nice scene. So how do I put it? Perhaps love is an expression of faith. That you will still be the you I love. Oh, I really, really like how that was worded. Yeah. Faith. It's a selfish faith. Sayaka's expectations are gentle. So far we've had a tiny little bit of Toka's narration. First was about, I could avoid thinking about Sayaka's feelings, but, she eventually changed and expressed herself. And now she's kind of considering the relationship again. And key here is that in neither of these narration bubbles is she like, I don't know how I'm gonna turn her down, or I'm so excited that we might be able to go out, right? Like it's kind of left ambiguous, right? And of course, being a reader of Yuri, being familiar with Yuri tropes, I'm still like really convinced that she's gonna decline Sayaka. But the fact that they're kind of holding out on us, like that they're leaving it at least conceivably ambiguous, is very interesting to me. Even though she knows just how weak I am, she still believes me enough to walk beside me. That's why I was able to come this far. Glad Sayaka has been with me. Oh man, it would be really interesting if in the narration she actually considers it, you know? Back to the shore. Easy for a while longer, we're still good on time anyways. Oh, she's so happy. This happy face is so painful because I think she's so optimistic right now, right? And she even said, like, I think if I asked her out now, I might not get rejected, right? Like, she definitely didn't do this just for the sake of doing it, but she definitely did it with some amount of hope, some amount of optimism. He's got on a boat. Is this something you go to Kyoto to do? I think I was near this river too. I think this is where the inn we stayed at. It was on one of the banks of this big, wide river. Oh, they're having fun. This might be the first time I felt so calm after being told I love you. Yeah, they just went back to their normal relationship. Look at these ducks! Dude, look at these ducks. They're so well drawn. I love Nagatani Mio's art so much. Maybe because it's Sayaka. Oh, the ducks showing together? You really gonna show the ducks together? I don't know. Like, is she actually gonna say yes? It's starting to feel like maybe she could actually say yes. Oh, this face, this last face, says so much. She sees the ducks together. Oh, she sees the ducks together and then she immediately thinks of you. Oh, it's so heartbreaking because it's like so close. She even had this moment of like an epiphany of love, you know? But it wasn't with Sayaka. It was so much because of Sayaka, because of this conversation they've had. And yet, oh, it's with you. Oh. Okay, here it comes. The rejection. Yep. Yep. I don't think she'll put it off either. She's so mature. I love stories like this, you know, because it would be so much easier just to have like the angst, to squeeze like a little mini arc out of every decision making here. And some series do that to really gripping, enthralling extents. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's universally bad. But like just the maturity and the courage of the characters is so inspirational. And it makes the plot feel like so tight and dynamic. Oh, maybe she didn't reject her. Oh man. I guess they already kind of had a lot packed into that scene. But I don't think it'll get drawn out too much. I love you. I've been told that so many times, and each time I ran away and avoided it. But I can't run away from Sayaka. I don't... She's being kind of harsh on herself here, because it's not like she ran away all the time. She would actually turn them down, you know? She didn't just ghost them or whatever. Also, just want to point out that when this final panel is zoomed in, you can see like more stitching on her scarf. That's nice. That's some nice detail. Ha ha ha. Yep. Yep. Alright. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. This is gonna hurt. I mean, I love the Yu and Toko pairing. So it's not that I'm sad that it's not going this route, But it's just like, it's just sad. Oh, stand somewhere away from everyone. She makes it dramatic because she really doesn't feel like, she doesn't want to feel like she's running, you know? If you say it too casually, if you say it such that you know right after you're gonna have to do something else and break the tension. If you say it when there's a lot of people around, so there's nobody can make a scene. All of this, I think she considers running from it. So, it's this. It's this one. I don't know. I kind of think it would be more in line with the spirit of the series if they actually showed what she said. Just because the series is so much about communication and what words mean to different people. But I can't deny that this is always like so dramatic. Oh my gosh. No, she was just doing the open and closed mouth. That one. I thought it was the silent page one. Sayaka, I can't choose you. I won't choose you. Wow. Sorry. That's amazing. The way she goes, I can't choose you, and then she realizes even that is kind of running from it, that that's not the full honest truth. And then she's like, I won't. Oh, it's so good. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's a really beautiful shot. The background is great. The framing of the characters is great. The paneling, it's just so great. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's like a really tough thing to do, to properly reject someone. And it's just so much easier to run in so many different ways. Like, I don't know. I've thought about it. If it's you, then we could be together. Like, do you want to become the person that you believe in? This is the first time I felt happy hearing the words I love you from someone. Oh, but I have someone else I love. Wow. Oh man. This is gonna hurt so badly for Sayaka. But again, it's like the honesty here, the courage here. This is gonna be like, I have no idea what kind of repercussions this will have for the rest of the plot. You know, like, oh man, okay. And that would be Quix. Yeah, she of course knows. She figured it out immediately. I think she's kind of known for quite a while, or at least strongly suspected. Oh, I totally forgot. We're gonna go back and look at it, just because I was so impressed with it too. Yeah, this page. When she looks at the ducks, and she suddenly pictures her and you. I thought this was fantastic, by the way. And such just like a beautiful like epiphany of love and this sort of wonderful sudden reintroduction of like the true route to love and happiness in this story. But I wanted to point out, I forgot at the time, Toko has the dolphin on her bag again. Isn't that nice? As a little detail, she's picturing having putting it back on or remembering before she took it off, you know, and that it's there, that she remembers that specifically. Anyways. Okay. Yeah. So she knows. Everyone probably knows at this point that they're such an adorable couple. All the student council people, I'm sure, have their theories. Oh my god, she's crying so much. Because I think she's still so scared, too, of her relationship with you. And, like, I think she really wanted to be like, well, you know, I can't return her feelings. I've changed so much as a person. I can't expect to return her feelings. So therefore, it's fine. We're not going to proceed to the relationship. It's sad, but that's just how it has to be. But here, finally, acknowledging that she loves her, too, that they're actually in mutual love, that they could start going out, must be so terrifying to her. I really think that this must be like a painful realization, because I think she's actually still so skeptical that it'll work. that she can love someone, that she can go on with her life with this sort of dating relationship or romantic relationship or whatever you want to call it. Like, I can't. And yet at the same time, I'm sure it's such a relief because she said all of this now, because there's no more ambiguity, there's no more secrets. So yeah, the emotions flooding through her body right now, I think, are probably insane. And the emotions flooding through my body in empathy with this fictional character. Very strong too. And Sayaka wistfully, but not so unhappily. I see, I see. I thought I could do everything that could be done for her. But I must have waited too long. I was too scared. It was that girl who stepped in. It's the ducks again. It's the ducks again. The U-duck has come down. I've always been thinking about Toko. It wasn't me. So I think she's kind of rationalizing here a little bit. I think a little unreasonably, that she's like, oh, I must have waited too long. It would have been fine if I had just asked her out sooner. But that's fine, right? Because now she's not bitter. Now she's not mad at you. She's not mad at herself, really. She's like, ah, dang it, I should have been more courageous. But she'll just internalize that, you know. She'll just be like, all right, I want to be more courageous as a person. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think Sayaka will be fine. It's frustrating. Yeah. Oh, she's crying a bit too. Don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. Sayakas feelings made me happy. Love is something you have to make a choice for. I never knew it'd be something this heavy. She's crying so much. This is definitely by far the most we've ever seen her cry. This is really heavy. Surely if it wasn't for Sayaka, I wouldn't have known. So sorry, Sayaka. Thank you. Oh my god. Oh man, isn't that heavy? If it wasn't for you supporting me and walking alongside me and everything else you've done for me, I never would have been able to fall in love with the person I actually love. Right? I think that's what she means here. Or maybe she means I wouldn't have known just how heavy it is to make these choices. Yeah. 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 No, I think that's maybe more it. But that's quite heavy too. Oh my god. I love you, Toko. She says it again. Even after being rejected. She's like, it's still true. I still love you. Oh, man. Okay. 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 We're going to be at Nijo Castle for a while. To treat them to something later. Making them do the report. I guess that was like the mandated class activity. To go to Nijo Castle and write about it. They're playing hooky together. It's only my first time. The words that I nurtured till they burst from my heart have certainly reached Toko. Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! This is so good. I don't. Oh man! They were my first words of. Ah, it's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's like this sort of plot. It overlaps with me only a bit. Only a bit. Maybe it's because I've been playing Mario Maker, but I picture it in my head like this. That I'm like this package of cookies. Which, by the way, if you ever see this brand, Vortmans, it's really good. So I'm like this package of cookies. Let's see it from this angle. And the plot of Bloom Into You only overlaps me like this much. Just this much. Just like a few incidents in my life, a few relationships I've had. A few things like that. A few feelings that I have now. Things like that. Just a little bit. But it's so good and it's so heavy that it still just completely inverts me. And like every other aspect of my life feels like it's just going tumbling and tumbling. And that tiny little bit of overlap, like, sure, it's just a tiny bit, but wasn't that the most important part? Doesn't it feel like now that's far and away the most important part? Iko. And then they're on Shinkansen back. What a wonderful school trip arc. A wonderful, wonderful school trip arc. You know, it had all of the great hallmarks of the school trip, all of the locales and activities. Didn't have much of the hotel scene, but I guess it had enough. And then the resolution of the Sayaka arc, I couldn't have asked for anything more. I was a little worried about it, you know, because it's like it's something they have to do. It's something that the series would feel very incomplete if it didn't have. So I wasn't sure how like inspired it would be, you know, like how kind of powerful it would be if it was kind of done with a sense of obligation. But wow, yeah. Well, so she's texting you. You can see that she sent the last message and that it was read. That's what's going on here. I don't know if she's. It looks like she's typed quite a lengthy paragraph here. What's she gonna say? She sends it. She's scared. She looks away. Feelings together with words. Oh, oh, it's so good. Okay, okay, we're getting slowly caught up. There's like 5 chapters left until we're caught up, including a bonus chapter. So I'm gonna keep at it. Hopefully we can just do a chapter a day, like in terms of uploads, until it comes out.